Christian Dior, the most important French fashion house for celebrities and royalty, of its imposing quality, which has endured for many decades, to where Dior is to feel important and respected, like the high class, valued at over 6.5 billion euros, a story of a young man who wanted to transform France back to fashion after the war, and all the economic conflicts through which Europe was going through in those years. The story of Success presents you, the story of Christian Dior. It is said that as long as high fashion exists in Paris, there will always be Christian Dior, the maison founded by the Frenchman who created the foundations for modern fashion. The dream designer, creator of the silhouette credited with bringing femininity back into fashion, was influenced by his memories and his surroundings in the creation of his first designs. Dior grew up surrounded by his mother's elegant dresses and the drama of the theater. His style was shaped by the aftermath of the war, and served as a signifier of rebirth after the economic crisis of the late 1940s. Normandy-born Christian Dior did not plan to be a fashion designer, nor did he come to the industry by conventional methods. During his youth he was sent to Paris, with hopes that he would one day be part of France's diplomatic corps. Instead, he spent his time immersed in the creative and bohemian world, accompanied by names such as Salvador Dali, Jean Cocteau and Christian Berard. Initially French designer Christian Dior had founded an art gallery financed by his family, which housed works by artists such as Picasso and Braque, but the Great Depression did its part in driving the family to ruin, forcing the then gallerist to explore new forms of income. With Berard's help, Christian Dior began selling his work as an illustrator to newspapers, and his hidden talent for fashion illustration landed him a position in the studio of designer Lucien Lelong. Military service knocked at the door of the designer, which made him leave the position to work for the army. Upon his return to Paris in 1942, he began working in haute couture. Following a generous offer from an entrepreneur looking to revive a company, Christian Dior founded in 1946 what is today perhaps the most powerful fashion house. A maison that, at the time of its founding, more than making fashion, was a tool for social change. Where exactly did his fame come from? Well, after World War II, Christian Dior gave women a reason to dress again with his new look. With his designs he gave the possibility of being elegant to all women, not only those of high society. His success came with the democratization of fashion and the expansion of his brand worldwide. His creativity was supported by his audacity for business. Dior opened boutiques in London and later in New York, being the designer who brought the sophistication of Parisian design to America. He was the first couturier to arrive in South Africa, and the first to set up a boutique in South America with the opening of his store in Caracas, Venezuela. Christian Dior changed the world's perception of fashion, taking away the elitist factor, without losing the class, but making it a subject of general interest. The brand's distinguished clientele led Dior to become one of the strongest fashion houses of the 20th century. Stars such as Marilyn Monroe, Elizabeth Taylor and Rita Hayworth were among the women who helped propel the Dior name. Christian Dior's designs were applauded at the time for the way they spoke of femininity with a new narrative, emphasizing the characteristics of the female body to create fashion. He introduced innovative forms of fabric manipulation, creating silhouettes that became the foundations of fashion construction. Dior was a designer who experimented with all the elements that make up a dress, altering its parts to create a new silhouette. The French designer was credited with reviving haute couture in Paris after the war, a time when his designs were a signifier of the arrival of modernity. Dior is the brand that laid some of the foundations for modern fashion, remaining at the forefront of social and cultural changes, even after the death of its founder. In a constant quest for renewal while maintaining the codes created by Christian Dior, it is a brand that adapts to the needs of women, their bodies, and their time. In both divisions, Dior and Dior Homme, the brand is a mirror of society and its needs in terms of clothing. Maria Grazia Chiuri, in charge of the women's division of the brand, has used her designs to speak of expression and individualism. She has fused the codes of the brand's identity with contemporary techniques and materials, values that Kim Jones, creative director of the men's line, reinforces in his collections. Christian Dior died on October 24, 1957. The news of his death generated chaos in the company, which had been left without its creative director and chief designer. The firm's management considered stopping its operations, an option that was not viable, since at the time the Dior house was too important for the financial stability of the French fashion industry. Today, founded by the designer 70 years ago, Christian Dior Couture is one of the world's most prestigious luxury brands, notes LVMH. Products, ranging from leather goods to haute couture, including ready-to-wear, women's and men's ready-to-wear, jewelry and shoes, are distributed almost exclusively through a worldwide network of 198 stores. This was the story of Christian Dior. Thank you for reaching the end of this video.